Morning, everyone. My name is Perez. Before I start, who here likes to exercise or do any type of sports? Good. Can you think like an example, like what kind of sport do you do?
That's like the cross country track. Outside of this soccer.
Anyone else? Tennis. Alright, cool. So, same as me. Same as her. I did track and field. Not only that, I'm also an athlete, cycling, and I'm also a triathlete. For those who don't know what a triathlete is a guy who swims, bikes, and runs. Right? So that's my type of line. Athletics, but my main one is mostly track. Why I do it is because, as everyone knows, exercising is really healthy for your heart and for your body. And as for me, I was born with a heart defect. So it really affected how I was and how I trained because the more I push myself, the more danger I put myself in line. Not only that, the main reason why I do track is because of my father. Now the object I brought was my track spikes that I run with. I am a distance runner. I don't like the sprints, all that stuff. I'm more of a 5K and a 10K distance runner. So the 3 miler and those crazy 10K runners that you see. A good fact about this that the track shoe came around about the 1860s at England. It came out for speed purposes and for track improvement. It helps with traction around the track and can really improve your times. Way different than you use like a regular training shoe. Now I've been doing this for about 7 years when I started in '09 in high school. So that was one of my favorite sports aligned, and it just really got me motivated into running. And not only that, it actually helped me break out of my shell because I was a very shy person when I started, and I still am a little bit now. Now, what I'll be talking about is how I got into the sport and how has it really changed me and affected my life today. So, when I first started track in high school, I was one of the slowest runners, as you can say. With my knee problem and heart defects, I couldn't really keep up with other runners, not even with the women. I was always behind. I used to run about a mile in about like 6 minutes and 30 seconds, so nothing too fancy or like those other runners you see is like in TV or anything, those Olympians. The problems I had to go through with the heart defect, as I said, my training was kind of limited. I couldn't do that much pushing or training as with my heart, there was kind of the air couldn't really go through my body, my lungs that well, so I'll run out of breath or I'll just get dizzy. One of the perfect things I could say, after about 3 years running, 4 years running, I started to heal a lot through all my bounce training, swimming, to the doctors and everything, to get my heart stronger. And by the time I was a senior, I became one of the top runners in my school, surprisingly. I was able to finish my mile in about like 4 minutes and 50 seconds. So, it was a big accomplishment on my part as, a person started from the bottom, worked all the way to the top. Of course, not one of the still first, second place runners, but I also wasn't really up there around my whole entire school league. The reason why I run is because of my father. He was an elite runner back then in Mexico. We didn't have a lot of money for like shoes or anything, so I used to run with just like those bands, or even sometimes I run with those just shoes that are right in front of my room. I used to do race after race, or he would race for me as to win shoes, so he could buy me some shoes or anything like that. He motivated me a lot, as he and my other part of my family were also runners. We had soccer players. My grandpa was an Olympian in the 1960 Peruvian soccer team, and so was my uncles in Peru as well. Why I identify with this culture is because track has always been a part of my family's life, or in some type. Since my family are athletes, I felt like I had to become one too. It's like I had to fill in for my father's shoes. After he can't stop running because of work and all that, I felt like I had to take his place. And through that, I was able to make the Council League team I run here. It took me about a year to make, but it was well worth the wait, well worth the training. I trained my body so hard here that one of the times I trained, I literally fainted and knocked out because my coach pushed me so hard that I just completely collapsed. I didn't really tell them about my heart problems at all because I was afraid that they wouldn't let me in the team. After they knew it, they kind of like low down my training. But it was well worth it as a runner who started running about a 450 mile in about 19 minutes by 3 miles. I was able to run for this school about 16 minutes, 20 seconds for 3 miles, about a 4 minutes, 30 seconds for a mile. So it was a huge improvement from the way I started and from the way it ended. And as I said before, it's just a huge part of me that it helped me with my shyness. I was able to meet people. I was able to help become like a little bit of a leader in my high school. Not only that, I love to train with little kids too. So I go back to my high school and I help them out. I train with them, and it's like a huge part of my life now. It's just something I can't live without. I have to run, or I don't know. It just feels weird. I can't live without my daily doing a little run. One of my favorite quotes from a runner of mine is Steve Prefontaine. It's maybe some of you know. His birthday was just yesterday. His quote was that some people create with words or with music or with a brush and paints. I like to make something beautiful when I run. I like to make people stop and say, I've never seen anyone run like that before. It's more than just a race, it's a style. It's doing something better than anyone else. It's about being creative. And it's something I live by every day when I run. It's something I do, it's something I love to do, and it's something I love to say when people like look at me and race and it's that guy's gonna try until I just die out or finish hard. And that's all. Thank you.